Hey everyone, welcome. Sorry for our late start. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Grant Dyer. I'm the head of customer success here at Orah. I'm joined by two of our customer success managers, Emily and Alexis, who you all know, and Zohaib, who leads our onboarding team. We are honestly so excited about this one. It's been a huge summer at Orah for our product and engineering teams. And everything that you're about to see today comes straight out of your feedback in the community portal. If you've ever clicked Help and Learn, it's in the Aura sidebar, and submitted a suggestion. This is where that went. The feedback loop is what made today's webinar possible. So please keep it coming. The more feedback you give us in that portal, the more likely we're going to be able to develop awesome new things. We've got a huge group of schools with us today, which is fantastic. So thank you for carving out time of what we know is a very incredibly busy stretch of year. So this is, means a lot to us. I hope you're watching. If you're watching the recording later, I hope that this is as beneficial as it is in person. You can always reach out to us after for any questions. A couple of housekeeping notes before we get going. We're using Zoom's built-in Q&A for this session, so drop your questions in there as they come up, and we'll get to as many as we can throughout the chat, and we'll save Q&A for the end of the webinar. Alexis, Z, and I will keeping an eye on the chat throughout. If we don't get to your questions live, reach out to us directly or email support@orah.com. And one more plug while I'm here, use Finn, our AI chatbot. Whenever you need a quick answer, our support team is monitoring it very, very closely. And right now, Finn is resolving over 80% of inquiries on its own. The more people use it, the smarter it gets. We monitor every time it doesn't work out for you. We make changes. So it's genuinely very worth making it your first stop, especially this busy time of year as hundreds of schools go live for us. All right. Can't wait to kick this off. Emily, take it away.
Hi, everyone. So great to be leading this session today. We have a lot of updates. I know you've been watching the changelog. You've been seeing them come in as they have been published, and we are going to go through a lot of them today. So bear with me as we make our way through them. Of course, some of them will really dive in. We'll get into the nitty gritty. Others will be more of a surface level mention. Hey, just in case you didn't see this in the changelog, really important that you know about it type update. I am going to be sharing my screen as we go through some of these updates. My hope is that we'll also have a slide deck to keep us situated. We're not Zoom experts over here, so we're really trying to make sure that you're able to see all the screen. So you might have to bear with us for just a second as we get that sorted. But I will go ahead and share my screen, and then see if you can try and share the slide deck at the same time. I'm going to have to share first, it looks like, Z. Unless you're able to also make me a host.
Hold on.
As you all know, we use Google Meets, and so Zoom is a foreign concept to us.
Yeah, if only we could make this through. You can probably do it from the panelists view. Okay, let's see if I can now share as well. Okay, perfect, I can. Awesome, let's share my entire screen over here. And hopefully you're able to see both at once. And so that I can be reminded of where I'm going next, I'm just gonna, sorry, give me a second here. All right, so all the things. So like I said, we're covering a number of different updates today. We are grouping them into kind of 6 different categories. So attendance updates, in terms of functional updates for attendance managers, but also some new updates, some changes under the hood, so to say. So in the background, that will lead to better visibility, more accurate counts between Orah and your SIS, and so on. Some updates to passes, updates for parents and contact management.
Emily, sorry, I think we can't see both screens. It will only show one.
We can only show one. Okay,
Yeah.
well, that's fine. I'll use the slide deck just to situate myself, and we'll go through the updates visually. All right. some updates to events. So these are long-awaited updates to event management. We'll also touch on some other highly requested updates, and then share a little bit about what's coming next. So in terms of updates for attendance, big one, really big one here is the reconciliation view. So this is a new screen for the attendance management function. It's one that can be hidden from other staff if you choose to do so. There's a setting found within your user settings that's the attendance management view. Anyone who you want access to the daily reconciliation view, the group records, and the student records, you want to make sure that that is enabled for those functions. And what this attendance daily reconciliation does is it surfaces all of the information that you need to know or might need to action on as the day progresses through. So as you're starting your day, you'll see absent for the day, this bucket. Any student who has been marked absent in the morning is going to show up in this bucket, right? There's been no opportunity beyond that first class to have them be marked present yet. So any student who's been marked absent is going to show up here. And as the day progresses on, a student might be marked present in their next class, and that's going to move them over into that late for the day bucket. So these two buckets, they do follow your daily attendance policies. Little plug here, we are introducing some new updates for daily attendance policies soon, so keep an eye out for those. And what this screen does, though, is this becomes the working list. In terms of absent for the day, as students are marked absent, the attendance manager is able to look through this list, review the student schedule, see where the student's been marked absent. If they have any known passes, we can edit them from here. Let's say that pass was input correctly and actually it ends just before the first class of the day starts. Oh no, what you can do is edit that pass from right here. Or you could also input a pass. Let's say that we know from talking with the parent that, let's say John here. Let's say that we've talked with the parent and we actually know that John is known, his absence is known for the day. I can add an absence right from here. Let's say that this is an absent excused pass. And, the start time is actually going to be 8 a.m. And end time, we'll say it actually goes until tomorrow at noon for ease here. So we can go ahead and input that pass. Oh, sorry, I'm not paying attention to my very own pass rules that I have enabled. So let's say 8 p.m. And so what that's going to do is it inputs the pass. We can see it right here on the student schedule. And we can also see that it has appropriately updated that student's records for the day. Those absent, unexcused have now fallen into absent excused. I can still see John over in my absent excused for the day bucket, and can review just how that pass has impacted that attendance that's been taken. We can also view contact details here. If you are the type of attendance manager who is responsible for maybe your processes that you're calling parents or getting in contact with them that way, you would have their details here as well. Of course, there's also regular filter options that we can access here. If we wanted to be able to view all contacts at once, there's a toggle to be able to view all of the contacts associated with those students that we're looking to reconcile attendance for. The other things you'll find on this daily reconciliation view is a count of all overdue roles. Any teachers who have not taken attendance will show up in this list. It's also going to show you their associated roles that they have not taken attendance for. Of course, it used to be the case that we could have automated reminders for teachers, or we could have those manual one-off reminders where you're going through the list and maybe you're clicking every teacher who has not taken attendance. It's going to send them an alert for each course that they haven't taken attendance for. The option that we have here is we can select all staff and email, and it's going to give each staff an individual email that lists the courses that they have not taken attendance for. So it compiles that information into one view for those associated teachers. And the last tab that we find on this reconciliation view is a list of all absences for the day. So here we'd see all absences that we expect to be starting today, those of which are still in a scheduled state. So this would be a good place to look as you're nearing the early dismissal period of your day where students might be heading out early. We could see a list of all of those scheduled early dismissal passes. Here we'd be able to see a list of all students that an individual user has access to, and their associated passes, any passes that have already ended for the day, and of course, same filters exist. So this page we imagine to be really the one-stop shop for attendance managers. With time, and as this has been released, we've already started to have conversations internally about little tweaks that might be made. So we're keen to hear from you all as you get up and running with this new view of some of those final touches that you might see getting added to this. Next on our list, I wanted to quickly touch on how some of this information has also been brought over to the student profile itself. So if we go to any student profile, we'll also see the student schedule view directly on the student profile, and also a new tab for attendance concerns. As a reminder, for the student profile, if there is a view that you find you're always coming to on the student profile, best practice is to make sure that it is set as the default tab. So whether that be the new student schedule view, or maybe common one up until this point was that records page, wanting to set that as the default tab. So depending on your flow, you can choose which of those is best for you. Moving along to some other updates related to attendance, big ones here in alerts. So a few updates that really pack a punch in alerts are the ability to have a smaller window of time for a delay after the criteria is met. It used to be set in hours. We now have minutes as an option. They are in 15-minute intervals, so you could say 15, 30, 45 minutes or so on in terms of a delay before an alert is sent out. Another update here, we have the ability to send at a scheduled time. That already existed, right? But some add-ons to this. Let's say we want to send an alert at 10 a.m. Then we have the choice of whether to send a notification the following day, or whether we want to not notify at all if the criteria is met after that alert is sent. So a good example of when you would use this setting is when you have, let's say you're notifying parents when a student has been deemed absent for the day, so they have not been marked present yet, and you want to send that out at 10 a.m. to associated contacts. Well, if they're marked absent for the day after 10 a.m., let's say a teacher delays in taking attendance, or whatever the reasoning be, it used to be the case that these time-based alerts would send the next day at that time. And of course, sometimes there's a use case for that, but not always. We don't want a parent maybe receiving an alert tomorrow for absences that took place today, this morning, when we're really sending out that notification to get them to help reconcile that attendance. So we can decide to not notify recipients, but instead just open up an attendance concern. When it comes to staff, big update here, one I am really excited about, is the ability to send a summarized email instead of individual emails. A good use case for this one is, let's say that you have an athletics director who needs to know at the end of each day who has met certain criteria, which will then prevent them from participating in, say, a game or in a practice. What you'd be able to say is instead of any student, you'd have a tag or group that would be for student athletes, and you'd have your criteria set. And then at a certain time in the day, maybe it's not 10 a.m., maybe it is, 2:30 or 3 p.m., you'd be sending that alert with a summarized email of all students who met this criteria to that certain staff member or group of staff members. Moving on from alerts, and this next one is a hefty one, is for attendance policies and dual codes. So this one is a really interesting update, one that will lead to really accurate representation of a student's class by class attendance. If you don't decide to make any changes here in terms of your setup, the system will work as it always has, but there's some interesting options that you can choose to enable here. So what this update allows for is for you to determine how much overlap a pass needs to have with a class for it to mark it as absent or as tardy, or to not be considered at all. Sometimes passes are put in the system and there might be 1 minute of overlap. And maybe in that case, you actually don't want the pass to be impacting the class at all. Or maybe the pass overlaps by 15 minutes. It used to be the case that would automatically account as an absence for that student, for that class. And maybe that's not the most accurate representation of how you want that data being put into the system. So what we have the ability to do, grade by grade, is to decide what we're deeming as an absent threshold. So if the pass overlaps by, say, 50% of the class or more, maybe that's automatically going to be deemed an absent code. Whereas if it's less than 50%, then maybe that, the first 50%, the first 10 minutes of the class, the first 15 minutes of the class, maybe it would then be a tardy code. So we have the flexibility of setting those thresholds. We can also decide whether or not we want to set a late status. So what this means is if we're setting a late status, then we're deciding that if the pass ends X number of minutes before the class starts, but before this absence threshold is met, then it's going to be a late for that student. If the pass were to end, say, 2 minutes after the class starts, then the teacher would proceed as normal. They would be able to simply mark that student as present or tardy or what have you. So what this late threshold does is decides whether or not the pass, if it's less than this threshold, shows up on the class attendance in the first place. What this absent threshold does is determines if the pass overlaps by this amount, either percent or minutes, maybe it's 30 minutes or more, then even if it's originally a late code that's set up with that pass, it is going to register as an absence. I'll give an example of this because I know it's a concept that might take some time to wrap your head around. Let's say that a student has a late to school pass. Their parent has input it and they're arriving at 10 a.m. Maybe for you, 10 a.m. is 10 minutes into the second period of the day. The reason code associated with that pass by default is, let's say, tardy excused. They've missed the whole first class and 10 minutes of the second class. If we were to set things up this way, what the system is going to do is notice that, okay, no, the student missed the full first class. Let's, instead of tardy excused, let's use an absent code. And we'll talk about how you set those up next. But let's use an absent code to represent that, to write to that first class and to the second class where they missed 10 minutes. It's within the late threshold. It hasn't reached the absent threshold. So that second class would be registered as being tardy excused. If we go down further on this screen, you'll see that there's a simulation here for you to visually see as you put in the different options up at the top, for you to see how a student, how attendance would be accounted for if the absence overlaps the start, the middle, or the end of the class. And so I do recommend playing around with this a little bit as you figure out what thresholds are best for your environment. If we go to the reasons, we'll see how we would determine what that secondary code would be. So here we have this absent excused code. And for each column, we can see there's a late SIS reason and an absent SIS reason. Any pass, of course, has a default code, or you might choose manually choose a different code for that pass, a different reason for that pass. And then this this piece here becomes kind of secondary. So for absent excused, if we click here, maybe we say the late SIS reason is actually not absent excused, it is tardy excused. And then the absent reason is absent excused. Hopefully I don't even have an absent excused code here. We'll pretend here. This is my demo site. Sometimes, you don't quite know what you're going to get here. So let's just say, though, for example, we'll say absent, no excuse. Let's pretend this is excused here. So here we can see if the code overlaps by the tardy amount. So in the example previously, less than 30 minutes, it's going to give us that tardy code. So if the student is absent, say for the first 10 minutes, and the default code is actually absent excused, it's going to switch that code for that pass to be tardy excused instead. And that's what it's going to register as in Orah. That's what it's going to send to your SIS. And then, of course, if you meet that absent threshold, that's when the code associated with the pass, the code associated with this default code that was used, is going to be absent excused instead. So one pass that spans a class and a half or a class and 10 additional minutes of another class could be sending two different codes to your SIS. I suspect that there's some questions that have come in on this, and don't worry, we will get to those questions at the end of our session. So in terms of what is next for attendance, a couple things. We do have, I believe, getting released next week, new daily attendance policies that will essentially create a daily attendance record for each student for each day, indicating things like their arrival or departure, early departure time or return time, depending on the pass type that's used. Those daily attendance policies, as I mentioned, those will feed into your daily reconciliation view. We also have what we're calling overlapping pass validation. So if you're an attendance manager and you are inputting a pass, sometimes you don't know if a student has another pass that already exists in the system and how that might interact with another pass that already exists. So if there is another pass that exists for that student in that time period, it's going to surface that for you so that you can have an indication of what else exists in the system and make a choice on your next steps appropriately, rather than having it come up after the fact. You'd have that information delivered right to you when you're inputting a pass. The next thing I want to show you is some updates to passes. When we go to add a new pass type, it used to be the case that we'd have a start from scratch or from a template button. We've really rethought the templates that were existing previously and recreated them with what we have uncovered as most common practice across schools. For each of these pass types, you'll notice that the screen looks a little bit different. There are tips that you can turn on or off. And it really guides you through the setup of a pass in a logical way. We can always see over on the right-hand side the summary of what that pass is going to look like in practice. Of course, you do have the flexibility to adjust these past details as you're deciding exactly what the past will look like. You know, for instance, who can input it specifically as you define those specifics for your school beyond what these common practices we've uncovered. The other updates that we have for passes is the ability to edit the pass type after it has been input. So I have this request that's come in from a parent. Actually, I think I've used that one to show something else. So a pass type that's come in from a parent. And what I'm able to do here, let's say parent excused absence. This is actually, I've looked at the information and I realized that I wish that the parent had input a different pass type instead. What I can do here is change the pass type and select a new pass type. And that will be, well, of course, that will then let us know what that change is, confirm that we want to make that change. And so instead of asking for a parent to resubmit and then having the parent have to re-input that information, what I'm able to do is simply change the pass type, sometimes fill in some additional context if the fields are a little bit different between the pass types, and approve it so that we're removing that back and forth. The other update here is one that we see a lot of issues come from, and they're really hard to spot. So when a pass is created, it is created based on the settings that are current at that time. If it's sitting in a scheduled state, it holds on to those settings. Maybe I have a pass type that automatically activates, and then I decide that I want to change that so that it requires a manual activation. If I make that change to the pass type, any passes created after that point are going to have that new setting. Passes that are sitting in a scheduled state would still hold that previous setting of automatically activating. So a pass will hold on to the settings that it had when it was created. And so a couple little updates here. That's probably not a good example. Let's say that we change, like I said, automatic activation. I'm changing this setting and saving it. It's going to tell me that there are a number of absences that are sitting in the system that still hold that earlier setting. So just going to surface that for you when you're making the change within your settings. But beyond that, the system's going to surface that for you when you actually look at a pass itself. And if it's an existing pass, a scheduled pass where the settings are now different, if we look at that pass type, it's going to tell us that it was created under old settings and allow us to see the details. So this is one way that we feel you'll really be able to troubleshoot when things aren't working as you expect them. A lot of the time, when it has to do with passes, and we look into it from our end, this is what we come down to, is that the settings are different. And so this will give you visibility into that. Moving along here, wishing I had some water at my desk. The next thing I want to show you is attendance in the parent app. So this is an option that you can decide to turn on or leave disabled. It is disabled by default. If you want to provide parents access to view attendance data within the parent app, You would do so by going to your contact database. And what we'd be able to do here is edit permission for any and allow parents to view attendance in the app. So you can do this across your system. Let's say select all. Doesn't have to be done one by one. This is another update that we have for parents, and that's some bulk actions from within the contact database. But we'd be able to select all and then edit permission and allow to view in the app. And so what does that look like for parents? I apologize, this might be kind of small. Let's see, can I make it bigger? Oh, I can. Grant, are you able to just chime in and let me know whether you can see?
Yep, looks good. I can see from hi Kim to schedule.
Perfect. Okay, so from within the parent app, it really becomes a full circle kind of experience for parents where they would get an alert. The alert will show up here. If they click the notification, they would be able to see the alert from here. They'd be able to see related records. So for this attendance alert, I can see that my child Alex was marked absent, unexcused at their 11 o'clock Latin class this morning. I can view attendance and be able to see Alex's attendance for this year or for, say, today. Did Alex miss any other classes today? I can see that Alex, has a daily attendance rate of 0 and has not attended any of their classes. I can see the schedule and see that, oh, you know what, actually attendance wasn't taken in this class, but I can see that it was taken here. Be able to view those associated details. And right from here, I can also add a pass. So when I say it's like this full circle access for the parent is that they can receive that alert in the same view. They can add a pass. Oops, Alex is actually sick at home today. I can go ahead and put in that absence for Alex. And you know what? Actually, just see, I actually haven't tested this out. I'm really curious to see, as a staff member, when I go in here. Let's just test this out together. We see this request coming from Alex. Let's go ahead and approve it. And okay. Might take a minute. I'm curious to see exactly what that's going to look like in a minute. And so it really is that full picture for parents being able to access that information and submit a pass right from there. The way that parents, I'll just pull that up for one more second. The way that parents would see that access just day by day, if they don't have an alert, but they want to actively review their child's attendance, they'd go to family, select the student. I don't have it set up for that student. Let's say Alex. There we go. And then go to view attendance. We can see, yeah, it takes, I guess, a few minutes to update here. We'd go to attendance and we'd be able to see those attendance records. A few more parent updates. I already talked about the contact database tools, so just some bulk actions available there. but I will go back there for just a second to show filtering options. So the ability to say, only show me students without connected contacts. This is an option that I foresee schools using, especially at the start of the year as they're getting parents to connect their accounts. By viewing students without connected contacts, that's going to narrow down our list. We can select all resend invitations that send that reminder without necessarily sending it to all students who have invited contacts. We know there's typically a default parent who might be connected and maybe the other one isn't connected yet. We could send to say only contacts who have students who do not have associated connected contacts yet. Couple other options here. Filtering by a specific tag, or also a relationship type, just to make a cleaner view. Another thing you could use this for, so let's say that we want to filter by relationship type. We have other relationships coming into the system. Maybe you might filter by parent. So you're only seeing parents in the list ahead of sending those invitations if you have other relationship types that are pulling in that you don't necessarily want having an account. The other thing that we have coming very soon is a shared email login. And this is really important. This is something that has been asked for time and time again from schools, especially those who have a lot of parents, staff members, people who hold more than one role, a parent role and a school role. It used to be the case, or it still is right now, but not for very long, that they would need two separate logins. They will now be able to log in to both accounts with one email address. So from the web browser, if they wanted to switch between accounts, they'd click their name in the top right and be able to switch accounts. Or if they are signing into an app, they'd simply be able to sign in with their same school email address to the parent app and also the staff app. If you already have staff parents in the system, which I know a lot of you do, what you'll do is you'll simply go and re-invite. Let's say you have you'd go and you'd re-invite the staff parents using their staff email address, and then any connected accounts that were with the personal email addresses, you could either delete or keep in place. Totally up to you. It would just mean that that staff member has two different accounts that they could sign into. Both of them would be associated with their children and with their name. Okay. Moving along here, knowing that we don't have a ton of time, but I think we have just enough. And next thing we'll talk about is events. I know this one has been anxiously awaited. People are really excited about these updates, as am I. So when we go to the activities view and even go into the settings, you'd think that not much has changed. A lot of it looks really similar to how it always has. Where we're going to see these updates is really when it comes to the actual rollout of the event, on the event day, leading up to the event, and how we can see that event in the system. So if I go to the schedule view, what I can see is that there is an event in progress here. All events will show up on the schedule. And from this view, we can see the students that are currently registered. We can see that there's a wait list and who's on that wait list. Also with a timestamp of when they've been put on that wait list. They are prioritized by when they were added to that wait list. We can see all of the event details. We can edit the event details here. We could change the submission close time, also the event end time. This event has already started. And we can take roll checks right here from the event. So let's say that the event is starting and Scott never made it. What I can do is I can, delete a student here. Let's say I'm deleting Georgia. And what that's going to do is it's automatically going to fill Georgia's spot with the person who was last on the wait list. Similarly, as students indicate that they are no longer interested, and they can do so from their app, as they indicate that they're no longer interested, they can drop off of the event and students would be filled from the wait list. When a student moves up from the wait list to the actual event, they are notified. So as you're coming up to the event and students are dropping off, and maybe there's reasons why you're actually removing them from the staff view, then those waitlisted students will automatically be pulled onto the event. Let's say that we have, room still on this event, and the event is here and another student shows up and we still have room. There's no one on the wait list. What I can actually do is right from here, I could add a student to this event to have them be included on this list as well. When it comes to the roll checks, at any point in time during an event, you can click this new roll check button and take a roll check for those students that are part of that event. We can always see the past roll checks from the past roll check section. So if you wanted to take a roll check as you're meeting for the bus and as you're meeting at lunchtime and before you get on the bus to leave, you could have an individual roll check for each of those moments in time. We also have a complete change log. So any changes that have been to the event details, any students who have been added to the registration list or removed or moved over from the wait list, all of those points in time are captured and added to the change log. You'll also notice the download function, and you can export all responses and also all student fields to a sheet. Something else that I noticed today, and I will apologize, I didn't get time to fully look into it. And now I'm realizing why. I was thinking out loud. Now I'm realizing why. It was actually something I saw in QAT, so I imagine something else coming soon, and the ability to upload information to the events themselves as opposed to creating them internally. So keep an eye out for that. Okay, so a few other favorites, a few other items. These ones are very quick, and then we'll get to Q&A. So first, the impersonation view. Oops. We are now able to impersonate users. So if you have an admin account, if you can go to this staff database, you can view the site as any other staff member would, any other active staff member, by clicking the three little dots and clicking impersonate. And that's going to open up the view as they see it. The next thing is on any of the attendance views. Let's go to our insights view, for instance. When we see these date pickers, you have the ability to favorite date ranges. So let's say that you are always putting in August 24th to December 25th, because maybe that is your first term. You're always putting in this date, and you, instead of inputting it time and time again, makes a lot of sense to put that in as a custom date range. So you can create custom date ranges for a number of different ranges. Could be the full year, could be a term dates. And whenever we see this date picker throughout the system, you'd be able to access those same date ranges. These are unique to your user, your account. What you put in might be different than what another user saves as their custom date ranges. And then the last one here, I really wanted to show you because it's super cool, but I realized my phone has died. But that is the checkpoint. So our checkpoints are now available for use with QR codes and barcodes. So the old checkpoint where you used to have to scan in, or you used to have to type in a student's name and maybe you had a PIN, you can now enable not just QR, which is something that came out a couple months ago now, but you can also enable barcode or QR code scanning. So when a student scans their QR code on their student ID or their barcode on their student ID, it registers that it's that student. And depending on your kiosk setup, would allow them to activate a pass or check into a location. So that is another favorite update as of recent. We're really excited to see how schools make use of this. And Grant, before we wrap up for questions, I don't know if I want to maybe pass it to you. Sorry to put you on the spot here, but a couple updates we have coming soon that we're really excited about. Dismissals and also visitors in emergency roles. Anything you want to say about those two upcoming updates?
Sorry, I was muted. I will say about Dismissals, it's been a very successful launch. We have a couple dozen schools actively engaged in dismissals. It's going really, really well. We're at a point now where I believe we're kind of booked up with dismissals until October. So if you are interested in after school dismissals and end of day dismissals, reach out to Emily or Alexis or I. We can give you a demo, walk through everything, and show you how it all works. We just at this point are so busy with it that we wouldn't be able to launch dismissals until early October. There is dismissals on feature base. Emily, do I have a minute just to share my screen here? Okay.
Yeah, of course. I am done sharing.
Excellent. I'm going to show you just a couple things that are really useful, kind of in line with what I talked about in the beginning of the training session today. Like I said, most of the feedback, everything that you saw today was based on feedback, and that came from FeatureBase, which is the portal we use, community portal we use, where you can submit feedback. I want to quickly show you just how to do that. Right now, there's multiple ways to do it. You can click here, which is our little Orah bubble. This is where you can come ask a question, talk to Finn, our support AI bot, talk to support, or suggest a feature. So that's one way in here. The other thing you can do is in the bottom right, you'll see this little question mark. You can click that and hit submit feedback. Choose a category, let's say day school, and that's it. You can come in here, type in what you need, throw in some attachments, do whatever. And that's how easy it is to submit feedback. And everything that we covered today was due to your feedback. Dana, I think I saw you here. Dana is the one that actually requested the parent attendance in the app, and it's really cool to see it live. And I want to thank you, Dana, for all of those suggestions and working with us as we created that, because it was a really cool thing to do. And again, that all lived here in the portal. Another way to access that portal, right now, you can come in here again and visit the Orah Community Hub. This is where you can see all of the feature requests that currently exist. Um, you can kind of browse the changelog, which is where we share all of our updates. And one thing that we have started doing that I'm really proud of is not only just putting releases here that we've recently released, but also giving you an idea of what's coming up. So check out this portal. For example, coming soon, shared email login, allow staff and parents to share an email. This has been a bit of a difficult thing when a parent is a teacher is also a parent. I've seen 2 requests come into our support queue today about this. Now you'll have the ability coming soon to log in, and it's going to ask you whether you want to log into the parent portal or you want to log in as the staff. And so keep an eye on this. There's lots going on. Like I said earlier, the product and engineering teams have been listening. They've been developing. They spent the entire summer working on all kinds of cool things like impersonation. So as an admin, you can impersonate another staff member and just to see what they're seeing. So if you're talking to someone on your team and they're saying, well, I don't see that, you can actually log in as them. So all of that and all those updates are here. One other thing I want to say is we host a lot of webinars. All of those webinars are recorded, including this one, and you can always come back here and find them. So all of our upcoming ones are here. You can register. It's just orah.com/events. All the previous ones are here. So, we love to have you. We love to have school leaders, admins, staff in our webinars. So this one, for example, was hosted a month or so ago. We had Julie Katz from Donna Klein and Nicole from University School of Nashville. If you are listening to this and you are interested in joining a webinar, we would love to hear from you. When we host webinars with schools, we want really honest conversations. We're not looking for perfection. We want you helping other schools. What was it like if you introduced class attendance? What did you learn? What was difficult? What was easy? Look, how did Orah help you? What can we do better? That's all the kind of topics we love to cover inside webinars. So if you are interested, if you had an interesting experience, if you want to share, please let me know. We would love to have you. Another thing I want to do is just mention our success library. This is the help center, and it has all of our guides, best practices, everything that you need. It can be accessed by success.orah.com, or you click this little logo and open the help center, and it brings you right there. One last thing. Oops, sorry about that. Is the video library. I'll send a link after this webinar, and maybe Zohaib, you can put it into the chat here.
Already done.
Already done. Excellent. We have about 50 or so how-to videos that the team has created over the summer just to help with you coming back to school. Those how-to libraries, they're actually included inside of our success library. And also, every time you're talking to Finn, our AI bot, which is just right here, ask a question. I have a product question. If there's a video that is relevant to what you're asking, Finn will provide that video for you. It also uses the Help Center library and any other additional information. Like I said at the beginning, we heavily rely on Finn. This is a very busy time of year for us. At Orah, hundreds of schools, as you can imagine, coming back all at once. And our lovely Alexis and Emily cover most of North America it is a lot, but we pushed out an enormous amount of resources for you. So you can continue to talk to your CSMs. They're there for you. They're always there for you. But I would like just a quick reminder where to go to support. So that's success.orah.com website. Finn answers over 80% of all of the inquiries successfully. When it doesn't, that other 20%, we have a support team dedicated to watching the chat that isn't successful, and we go proactively and fix it. So the more you use Finn, the better it gets for you and the whole community. Outside of that, there is one more website, orah.com/training. Because everyone's back to school at the same time, we've created daily webinars. I'm sure you've read the emails, you've seen the pop-ups. I know I'm probably overdoing this, but orah.com/training, there's daily webinars, different topics every single day. But at the bottom of that page, you'll see open office hours. Zohaib here has dedicated multiple sessions per week. You can subscribe to the calendar and just drop in. You don't need to register. If you ever have any questions, if your CSM is busy, just use those drop-in open office hours. And that's probably your fastest and best bet to get support, and of course support at Orah.com. Unless anyone else has anything here on the panel from Orah? Nope. Well, thank you all very, very much. We loved having you today. We can't wait to see what the school year brings together. Let us know if you have any questions. We'll send the recording out to anyone maybe on your team that missed it. And that's it. Thank you very, very much. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.